Claire Bennett opened her eyes to sunlight streaming through her bedroom window. Something felt wrong. Her body ached in ways she could not explain, and a wave of nausea hit her before she even sat up. She rushed to the bathroom, barely making it in time. This had been happening for 2 weeks now. At first, she blamed it on stress from her job at the City Arts Foundation. But as she looked at herself in the mirror, she noticed changes that made her heart race. Her face looked fuller, her clothes fit differently, and there was an exhaustion that sleep never seemed to fix. The pregnancy test box sat on the counter, unopened. Claire had bought it 3 days ago but could not bring herself to use it. She was careful, always responsible. She had not been with anyone since her relationship with Derek ended 8 months ago. It was impossible. But her hands were already tearing open the box. 3 minutes later, Claire stared at 2 pink lines that seemed to glow with accusation. Positive. She was pregnant. Her legs gave out, and she sank to the cold bathroom floor. How could this be happening? She pressed her hands against her face, trying to remember, trying to find any gap in her memory that could explain this. The friend who believed, Jordan Mitchell, arrived at Claire's apartment within 20 minutes of her frantic phone call. Jordan worked as a physician at Mercy General Hospital and had been Claire's closest friend since their college days. One look at Claire's tear-stained face told Jordan everything he needed to know. "Show me the test," Jordan said gently. Claire handed it over with shaking hands. Jordan examined it, then examined Claire with professional concern in his warm brown eyes. "When was your last period?" Jordan asked. 3 months ago. But Jordan, I have not been with anyone. I swear on everything that matters to me. This does not make sense." Jordan sat beside her on the couch. "I believe you, Claire, but you are definitely pregnant. We need to figure out what happened. Walk me through the last few months. Is there anything unusual you remember?" Claire closed, her eyes trying to think. "There was that charity gala in August, the one for the Children's Hospital. I remember getting dressed, arriving at the grand ballroom, having 1 glass of wine during the reception. I talked to some donors about the new art program." She paused, her brow furrowing deeply. "Then nothing. I woke up in my bed 2 days later. It was Sunday afternoon. I thought I had just been exhausted from working late all week. Everything in my apartment was normal. My dress was hung up. The door was locked from inside. I felt tired, but not hurt." Jordan's expression shifted from concern to alarm. "You lost 2 entire days and did not think that was strange enough to call me?" I checked myself over. There were no bruises, no signs of anything wrong. My phone showed I had been texting people. Normal responses. My car was still parked where I left it at the venue. Everything seemed fine except for this blank space in my head. Claire stood and walked to the window. "What if someone did something to me? What if I was drugged and cannot remember what happened?" The phone call that changed everything. Before Jordan could respond, Claire's phone rang. Unknown number. She normally ignored these calls, but something made her answer. "Is this Claire Bennett?" The voice belonged to a man, deep and urgent. "Who was asking?" "My name is Nathan Sterling. We met 3 months ago at the Riverside Children's Hospital gala. I know you have no memory of me, but I need to speak with you right away. It concerns that night, and it concerns your baby." Claire felt the blood drain from her face. She put the phone on speaker so Jordan could hear. "How do you know about the baby?" Her voice barely worked. "Because I am the father, and because what happened to you that night was not an accident. Please, Miss Bennett, give me 1 hour of your time. I will explain everything. Then you can decide what you want to do. I will meet you anywhere public that you choose." "The coffee shop on 5th Street. 1 hour, and I am bringing someone with me." "Of course. I understand. Thank you for giving me this chance." The call ended. Claire looked at Jordan with wide, frightened eyes. "This could be dangerous," Jordan warned. We should call the police right now. He knows about the baby, Jordan. He knows about that specific night. I need answers. Please come with me. We will stay in public. If anything feels wrong, we call for help immediately. 55 minutes later, Claire sat by the window at Riverside Coffee House. Jordan sat at a nearby table, phone ready to dial emergency services. When the door opened and Nathan Sterling walked in, Claire felt a strange jolt of recognition despite having no conscious memory of him. He was tall with dark hair and intense green eyes that found hers immediately. He wore a navy suit that spoke of wealth and carried himself with quiet confidence. But what struck Claire most was the expression on his face. Guilt. Deep, genuine guilt mixed with determination. He approached slowly. "Miss Bennett, thank you for meeting me. I know you have no reason to trust me. Sit down and start talking before I change my mind." Nathan sat across from her, keeping his hands visible on the table. "That night at the gala, we were introduced by the event coordinator. We talked for almost an hour about the art therapy program you were developing for the children's wing. You were passionate, brilliant. I was genuinely impressed." "I remember none of this." "No, because the wine you drank that evening was drugged with a powerful sedative mixed with a memory suppressor. Not by me," he added quickly. "By people working for my mother, Victoria Sterling." Claire felt the room spin. "Your mother drugged me? Why would anyone do that?" Nathan pulled out his phone and showed her a photo of an elegant older woman with cold blue eyes and expensive jewelry. "Because my mother believes money and power can arrange anything, including grandchildren." Claire stared at Nathan Sterling, trying to process his words. His mother had drugged her? This sounded like something from a crime thriller, not real life. "You need to explain everything right now," Claire said, her voice shaking with anger and fear. Nathan took a deep breath. "My father passed away 2 years ago. His will contains a specific clause. To inherit the Sterling Industries empire and the family fortune, I must have an heir by my 35th birthday. That birthday is in 5 months. So your mother drugged me and arranged for you to get me pregnant?" Claire's voice rose, causing other customers to glance their way. "I had no knowledge of what she planned. I swear to you on everything I hold sacred. That night, after we talked, you excused yourself to use the restroom. When you returned, you were clearly unwell. Your words were slurred. You could barely stand. I thought you were sick. I helped you to your car and insisted on making sure you got home safely." Nathan's hands clenched on the table. "I found your address from your driver's license in your purse. I drove you home in your car. I got you inside your apartment, made sure you were safe on your couch with water nearby. Then I called a taxi to take me back to the venue. Then how am I pregnant with your child?" Nathan looked physically ill. "Because after I left, my mother's people entered your apartment. She had somehow gotten a copy of your key. They brought medical equipment. They had obtained my genetic material earlier that week through a fake health screening my mother arranged. While you were unconscious, they performed artificial insemination." The words hit Claire like physical blows. She could not breathe. The coffee shop seemed to tilt around her. This was not possible. Things like this did not happen to normal people living normal lives. Evidence of a nightmare? Nathan reached into his jacket and pulled out a thick manila folder. "I only discovered what she did 3 weeks ago. I was looking for documents about a business deal in her private office. I found a safe I did not know existed. Inside were medical records, payment receipts, surveillance photographs." He slid the folder across the table with trembling hands. "Everything is documented in here. I have been searching for you ever since. The gala organizers would not release your personal information due to privacy laws. You are not on social media under your real name. It took hiring a private investigator to finally locate you." Claire opened the folder with shaking hands. Inside were medical documents from a fertility clinic. bank transfers showing payments of hundreds of thousands of dollars, and photographs that made her stomach turn. Images of her unconscious in her own apartment, surrounded by people in surgical masks and medical equipment. She barely made it to the bathroom before being sick. Jordan was there immediately, holding her hair back and providing steadying support. "We are calling the police right now," Jordan said firmly when they emerged. "Wait." Claire looked at Nathan, who had stood respectfully when she left the table. "Why are you telling me this? You could have stayed silent. Let me think it was just some forgotten encounter. Why risk exposing your mother and losing your inheritance? A man of principle." Nathan stepped closer, his green eyes meeting hers with raw honesty. "Because what happened to you was not consensual. Because my mother committed multiple crimes against you. Because you deserve to know the truth and have complete control over what happens next." He handed her a business card. "I have already contacted lawyers to begin proceedings against my mother. I am prepared to sign away any parental rights to the child. I will provide full financial support with no strings attached. I do not want the inheritance if this is how it was obtained." Jordan moved protectively beside Claire. "This is very convenient, Mr. Sterling. How do we know you are not just covering your involvement now that she discovered the pregnancy?" "You do not know," Nathan admitted. "All I can offer is the truth and my complete cooperation. I will submit to any DNA. Testing required. I will testify against my mother in court. I will do whatever Miss Bennett needs to feel safe and supported." Claire studied him, searching for deception. She had worked with enough wealthy donors to recognize when someone was lying. But Nathan Sterling looked exhausted, guilty, and genuinely anguished by what his family had done. "I need time to think about all of this," Claire finally said. "Of course." Nathan moved toward the door, then paused. "For what it is worth, Miss Bennett, that hour we spent talking before everything went wrong was real. I met someone remarkable that night. Someone kind and passionate about making the world better through art. You deserved so much better than what my family did to you. I am truly sorry." Facing the reality, after Nathan left, Claire sat in stunned silence. Jordan ordered her tea and made her drink it, using his doctor voice that allowed no argument. "What am I going to do?" Claire whispered. "First, we are going to the police. Then we are getting you checked out at the hospital. Full medical screening. After that, you are staying with me for a few days. You should not be alone right now." Claire placed her hand on her stomach. Somewhere inside her, a life was growing. A child she had not chosen to create, conceived through violation and manipulation. Yet as much as she wanted to be angry at this innocent life, she could not. "Jordan, what if I want to keep the baby?" Her friend took her hand. "Then I will support you every step of the way. But Claire, you do not have to decide anything right now. You are processing trauma. Give yourself time." Claire's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. She opened it to find a message that made her blood run cold. "Miss Bennett, I understand my son has filled your head with dramatic stories. We should talk before you do something you will regret. My lawyers can be very persistent or very generous. The choice is yours. Victoria Sterling." She showed the message to Jordan, whose expression hardened. "That sounds like a threat." "It is," Claire said, feeling a strange calm settle over her shock. "She is trying to intimidate me." Another text came through, this time from Nathan. "My mother just called demanding to know if I spoke with you. She knows. Be careful. I am here if you need anything." Claire stood gathering the folder of evidence. "Call the police. Tell them I need to file a report. And Jordan?" "Yes?" "Thank you for believing me." As they left the coffee shop, Claire felt the weight of impossible choices pressing down on her. But beneath the fear and anger, something else was growing. Determination. Victoria Sterling had made a terrible mistake. She had assumed Claire would be too scared or too weak to fight back. She was about to learn otherwise. Detective Rachel Morgan arrived at Jordan's apartment 2 hours later. She was a woman in her late 40s with sharp eyes that missed nothing. She listened carefully as Claire recounted everything, examined the evidence Nathan had provided, and took detailed notes. "Miss Bennett, what was done to you constitutes several serious crimes. Drugging you, breaking into your home, and the procedure itself. This is assault. We will investigate thoroughly," Detective Morgan said firmly. "Can you really prosecute someone like Victoria Sterling?" "She has money, lawyers, connections," Claire asked. "Money does not put you above the law. I have handled cases against powerful people before. The evidence you have is strong. Medical records, bank transfers, photographs. Your testimony combined with Nathan Sterling's cooperation gives us a solid case." Detective Morgan stood. "I need you to come to the station tomorrow to give an official statement. In the meantime, avoid contact with Victoria Sterling. If she approaches you, call me immediately." After the detective left, Claire felt exhausted. Jordan insisted she eat something, but food seemed impossible. She kept thinking about the baby growing inside her, about Nathan's genuine remorse, about Victoria's threatening message. Her phone rang. Nathan Sterling. "Miss Bennett, I wanted to warn you. My mother just left my office. She is furious that I spoke with you. She may try to contact you directly. Please be careful." "She already sent me threatening texts," Claire said. Nathan cursed softly. "I am so sorry. I have increased security at my home and office. I can arrange protection for you as well if you want it." "I can take care of myself, Mr. Sterling." "Nathan. Please call me Nathan. And I know you are strong, but my mother is dangerous when cornered. She believes rules do not apply to her." The unexpected visit. 3 days later, Claire returned to her apartment to gather some clothes. She had been staying with Jordan but needed her own things. As she packed a bag, someone knocked on her door. Through the peephole, she saw Victoria Sterling standing in the hallway. She wore a cream-colored designer suit and looked every inch the wealthy socialite. But her eyes were cold as ice. Claire opened the door with the chain lock engaged. "Leave my home immediately. Miss Bennett, we need to have a civilized conversation. May I come in?" Victoria's voice was smooth but held an edge of steel. "Say whatever you came to say from the hallway." Victoria smiled, but it held no warmth. "Very well. I understand you have been speaking with the police, filing dramatic accusations about conspiracies and crimes. The truth is much simpler. You and Nathan had a consensual encounter at the gala. You were quite willing. Now you see an opportunity to extract money from my family. Your son told me everything. I have evidence of what you did. Evidence that could disappear. Witnesses who could change their stories. Do you really think you can win against me?" Victoria stepped closer to the door. "I am offering you $10 million. Sign a non-disclosure agreement. Never contact Nathan again. Raise the child wherever you like, but stay away from my family." "I am not signing anything. And I am pressing charges." Victoria's polite mask slipped, revealing something cruel beneath. "Then I will destroy you. I have lawyers who will bury you in legal paperwork for years. I have connections that will ensure no arts organization ever hires you again. I have resources you cannot imagine. You are nobody, Miss Bennett. A minor coordinator at a small foundation. You cannot win this fight." Claire felt anger replace her fear. "I am not afraid of you. You made a mistake when you decided I was weak enough to victimize. An even bigger mistake thinking I would be too intimidated to fight back." Victoria studied her for a long moment. "We shall see about that." After Victoria left, Claire immediately called Detective Morgan and Nathan. She had recorded the entire conversation on her phone. Victoria Sterling had just made her case stronger. An alliance forms. Nathan arrived at Claire's apartment within 30 minutes, looking worried and angry. "Are you okay? Did she threaten you?" "She tried to bribe me, then threatened to destroy my life when I refused." I recorded everything. Nathan ran his hand through his hair. That is perfect evidence of witness intimidation. She is making this worse for herself. Detective Morgan arrived soon after. She listened to the recording and smiled grimly. This is excellent. Victoria Sterling is panicking. People make mistakes when they panic. Over the next few days, the investigation moved forward. Detective Morgan interviewed witnesses from the gala. Security footage showed Nathan helping an AE obviously drugged Claire to her car. His timeline checked out completely. He had called a taxi from outside Claire's building at the exact time he claimed. The fertility clinic was raided. Staff members broke under questioning, admitting Victoria had paid them enormous sums to perform the procedure. Medical records confirmed everything Nathan had said. Understanding grows through it all. Nathan remained present but respectful. He called to check on Claire but never pushed. He provided information to the police but never demanded updates on her decisions. He offered support but never made demands. Slowly, Claire began to see him as more than just a name attached to her nightmare. She saw a man who had been manipulated by his mother just as she had been. A man who chose honesty and justice over wealth and family loyalty. One evening, Nathan asked if he could take her to dinner. Nothing romantic, he assured her. Just two people trying to make sense of an impossible situation. They met at a quiet restaurant far from the media attention the case was attracting. Victoria's arrest had made headlines. The scandal of a wealthy socialite drugging and assaulting a woman to secure grandchildren shocked the city. "How are you feeling?" Nathan asked after they ordered. "Honestly? Overwhelmed, angry, scared, but also stronger than I expected," Claire admitted. "You are remarkable, the way you have handled this situation with such grace and courage." Claire looked at him across the table. "Why did you really help me? You could have kept quiet, protected your mother, kept your inheritance." Nathan met her eyes. "Because it was wrong, because you deserved better, and because that night at the gala, before everything went wrong, I met someone special. I have thought about our conversation many times. About your passion for using art to heal children. About your laugh when I made that terrible joke about impressionist painters. I wanted to ask for your number that night, but then you got sick. So in some twisted way, your mother took away a choice we both might have made freely," Claire said softly. "Yes, and I hate that. But Claire, we get to make choices now. Real choices. Whatever you decide about the baby, about my involvement, about everything. This time, the power is completely yours. A new beginning." 8 months later, Claire stood in the nursery of her new apartment. The walls were painted soft yellow. Art prints she had carefully chosen hung in frames. A crib stood ready, assembled by Nathan just yesterday. Victoria Sterling was in prison, convicted on multiple charges. The trial had been difficult, but justice had been served. Nathan had testified against his own mother, choosing truth over family loyalty. Claire had decided to keep the baby. It was her choice, made, freely, and slowly, carefully, she had allowed Nathan into her life. Not because of obligation or circumstance, but because genuine feelings had grown between them. They took things slowly. Dinners, walks, long conversations about everything except the nightmare that brought them together. He attended doctor appointments when she invited him. He asked permission before touching her growing belly. He respected every boundary she set. "The nursery looks perfect," Nathan said from the doorway. Claire turned to him. "Thank you for helping, for being patient with me, for letting me set the pace." He crossed the room and gently took her hand. "Claire, I need you to know something. What I feel for you has nothing to do with the baby, or the inheritance, or any of that. I have fallen in love with who you are, your strength, your kindness, your courage. If you never want anything romantic between us, I will accept that. But I needed you to know. Claire looked up at him. This man who had chosen her over everything, who had fought beside her, who had proven through actions, not words, that he was worthy of trust. I love you too, she whispered. It terrifies me, but I do. When Nathan kissed her, it was gentle and full of promise. This was not how their story was supposed to begin, but they were writing a new ending together, one based on choice, respect, and real love that grew from ashes of something dark into something beautiful. 3 weeks later, Claire gave birth to a healthy baby girl they named Hope, because that was what they had found together in the darkness. Hope for healing, hope for justice, hope for a love that was real and freely chosen. The end.